Okay, it's the Human Torch here. This video is about Alan Watts is full of shit. Now, that might sound like an outlandish statement for all you Alan Watts dick riders. Let me explain. I don't think everything he's saying is wrong or bad. Non-duality is cool and everything, but the main issue I have with his teachings, well, let's define his teachings first. So basically, he says in so many words, basically every single talk, you are one with everything. You are the universe. You are God in disguise. You just forgot that you're God. And you just put yourself in this dreamlike coma state to go out there and have an adventure, because what else would you do with your eternity, right? Go have fun. And that is somewhat true as a premise. But when you really analyze the amount of suffering that goes on in this reality, and there's a lot. People, missing arms, legs, people who can barely feed themselves, people with a whole host of diseases. We don't need to go into it. Severe economic imbalances and just general negativity that goes on in this reality. People name calling, bullying, etc. There's just so many ways to suffer here. It's endless. And not only that, the average lifespan is like 75 years, right? So think about all of the suffering people go through for their whole lives. I mean, most people, if they're being really honest with themselves, have been suicidal at least once in their life, probably for at least months too. So if you were actually the God that is in charge of this experience, why would you create a setup for yourself where you're suffering well past the point of this shit being enlightening or fun? Like, why would you? I could understand you want to get contrasts, like, oh, what would it be like to suffer? Okay, cool, I've experienced that. All right, I don't want to suffer anymore. Where's the off switch? Where is it? Why am I still suffering? So that's my problem with Alan Watts' basic theology is, if your consciousness was synonymous with the consciousness that is running the show here, that is causing all sorts of suffering here, why would it push us this hard for this long, well past the point of it doing anything positive for us? Think about that. It wouldn't. You wouldn't do that to yourself. You wouldn't make yourself suffer to the extent that you have in your life, if you are the average person anyway. I'm not saying everybody goes through horrible suffering, but most people do at some point. So if you actually understand what the light is, the true light, Creation Light Ship, okay? CreationLightShip.com, Ron Amatron, the ambassador, all that, okay? You understand what true light is. The source generates no ill will, no intent. It wouldn't even design a reality where you would have the thought to suffer. It wouldn't even create a reality where it's really possible to suffer. Sure, you have free choice and free will, but you wouldn't even know what darkness is to have thought in your head to torture yourself. You understand? So that's an external thought, the snake in the garden that came from an alternate alien universe. It's a totally different energy signature that has nothing to do with the divine source that created your spirit. You understand? So basically, we got invaded, we got taken over, we got matrixized, we got put in the mind, mental energy, time-based reality of the aliens, okay? Which explains why we're suffering past the point of this shit being fun or making any sense or doing anything positive for us. And the excuse is, of course, karma. You have to balance the karmic scales and blah, blah, blah. But as we all know, that shit is basically impossible, because just to live in this reality requires you to do all kind of heinous things, including killing animals and plants every day just to eat. So, you could take that metaphor further, and how we're killing other people's energy, consuming other people's energy in the economic system, making them pay for a bunch of bullshit, and this and that. So, yeah, basically the whole Hindu Buddhist thing, your nothingness, which is everything, and I think there could be some truth in that. But as far as your own consciousness being synonymous with the consciousness that is running the matrix, I think that's utter horseshit. We wouldn't do that to ourselves, and we wouldn't create a devil intentionally that would torture us like this and disempower us to this point, force reincarnations through eons. We wouldn't do that to ourselves. We wouldn't. And that also destroys the argument of solipsism, because if your mind is the only thing that's real, why would you torture yourself to this point and make yourself forget, the access codes to getting back to your godly state to recreate the reality? You wouldn't do that to yourself. You'd have to be some kind of crazy maniac, Mad Hatter, freaking, what's the word? Sadomasochist, okay? And if that's God, then shit, we're all fucked. So it better not be, okay? That can't be the highest point. So yeah, we destroyed Alan Watts' theology, which is basically Hindu Buddhist theology, and we've destroyed solipsism in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comment, share. At this point, let's not end on a bad note, okay? At this point, you may be asking yourself, well, geez, that's a pretty bleak outlook on reality. What do we do? Well, go to the creationlightship.com website, get your spirit barcode removed, get out of darkness forever. It's really that simple. Watch the Ron Amatron YouTube channel, RON space AMITRON. The ambassador of the Creation Lightship in charge of preparing this planet for ascension. Listen to the radio archives on the website. You'll get the picture. I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. I'm just here to spread the word. That's the only point of this channel, because I want you to get it. I want other spirits to actually come to the light before this final ascension point. If you think I'm talking crazy, well then join the club, buddy. It's a long line. It's a long line. You can get all the way in the back. Awesome. Cool. Peace.